Hey there, welcome back to Total Geek Live Baltimore Presents. I am Baltimore, and I am here today to talk to you about Original Sin. Not your Original Sin, Marvel Comics event Original Sin. This was 2014 event, happened, 8 issues. This was written by Jason Aaron with art by Mike Diodanto. Great art, love that. Interesting concept. Kind of a really cool kind of idea about revealing all the original sins of the Marvel Universe, which are plenty. So there's a lot of fun things, and basically it's couched as a mystery. The Watcher, Uatu, who has been watching the Marvel Universe since the Fantastic Four and the very very beginnings of this, is murdered. Someone kills him and take out his eyes, which is basically how he records all the events for their own gain. And so the heroes of the Marvel Universe have to come together to solve it. And what was really fascinating about this is that you had a lot of characters that you never really had a lot of interactions with, or that didn't have interactions with, teaming up together. And that was kind of fun because unexpected team-ups are awesome. And it's kind of the hallmark of Marvel. These weird kind of team-ups that happen. So you have Emma Frost and Ant-Man and Black Panther teaming up. That's cool. You have Moon Knight, Winter Soldier, and Gamora teaming up. Okay, yeah, sign me up. I hear all this, and I'm like, yeah, you can take my money. And then I'm reading it, and I'm like a little let down. So there's an 8-issue series that happens. Then you have a lot of tie-ins, and you have a lot of you have a sort of anthology series, which I like. This one I wasn't super in love with, but it was still pretty good. Getting to see some of characters that you don't get to read a lot about, so I like that. So basically it starts with Nick Fury coming in and seeing that the Watcher is dead, and they have to find out what happened. His eyes are missing, his place is destroyed, there was a destruction, and he gathers these heroes to sort of solve the crime. And it turns out the Orb, which is a super, obscure villain, has one of the eyes. And he actually, was doing this, stealing the stuff from the Watcher on orders of Dr. Midas, who is another kind of obscure villain. And I really like that Jason Aaron has such a great comics knowledge and kind of just brings all these, obscure characters or strange kind of connections out of nowhere and kind of just makes it work. So that's really cool. So you have this Nick Fury teaming up with these people and trying to figure out what's going on and why are these things happening. And we start to get the reveals. You start to get these stories about what really happened and how things kind of evolved and what we know has, the truth now. And it turns out, there are plenty of secrets that happened. It turns out that Tony Stark was actually involved in the gamma bomb that goes off that gives Hulk his powers. So that's kind of like a mind, whoa. Tony was kind of involved around this, and now we're just finding this out. Wow. You find out, there's a whisper between Nick Fury and Thor, and that whispered moment that we don't find out actually what's said until much later is the reason why he loses Mjolnir. He becomes unworthy because of the phrase that's uttered to him by Nick Fury. And it's really kind of fascinating because it sets up a lot of things for the future. It sets up Jane Foster becoming Thor, which has been a fun ride, actually. I really enjoy it. So it's really interesting. There are some things that were less successful. The Last Will and Testament of Professor Charles Xavier, which was written by Brian Michael Bendis as a tie-in to this Original Sins. I hated it. I hated it, and I hated it even more. Um, I don't mind being told going in for a story and having things happen, and then at the end of it, nothing happens. If the story is good enough, and it wasn't. And I'm not going to really talk about it a lot because I prefer to get your thoughts on it instead of kind of spoiling things for you. But basically, his tie-in was basically filler until the last page, which kind of retconned everything, and I hated that. I thought it was a very big disservice, especially if you have something that the last will and testament, and then basically it's not a zilch. Very disappointing. Um, so some of the things that kind of happen out of this series is you find out that there is in 1958 Nick Fury is talking, and he says he ran into a man named Woody McCord. And Woody McCord was kind of stopping an alien invasion in Kansas. Um, and basically, he became the man on the wall. And what that meant is that he's the one who's watching and making sure the Earth is taken care of, and that no one is hurting it, destroying it, taking it over. Which kind of begs the question: what's happened in the past when all these things do happen to Earth? Where have you been? But it turns out that the Nick Fury that was gathering the heroes together was not the real Nick Fury, as evidenced by Winter Soldier killing him. And we find out that the real Nick Fury, the real Nick Fury, has taken over Woody's spot as the man on the wall. And he's been the man on the wall for, conceivably since 58 or something. So it means every single Nick Fury story that we've read has been an LMD, which is a little disappointing, kind of interesting, but a little disappointing. And it's sort of a way to kind of bring Nick Fury Jr. into the mix, who I have ambivalent feelings about. I enjoy reading about him, but I don't feel like he has certainly not caught on with the fans like Marvel would hope. But basically, after the end of this, Nick Fury dies. The secrets are out. All the original sins of the Marvel Universe are kind of revealed. One other big, huge event, original sin, is the reveal of Angela, who was Thor's sister. She was basically kidnapped from Odin by the 10th realm, which is heaven, and the angels there. And they kidnap her and keep her in her realm until, the secret is out, and they find out that, oh, I have a sister? And she's brought into the Marvel Universe, and kind of all these things kind of spill out from it. And it's pretty interesting because there's a lot of ramifications that you see in the Marvel Cinematic Universe with this kind of idea. So going forward, you have Winter Soldier now taking over the man on the wall for the foreseeable future. You have the Watcher, who is dead, and what's going to happen? Who's going to watch the Marvel Universe now? That's still a question that's happening. You have Thor becoming unworthy. He doesn't have a hammer anymore. He has to kind of find a different weapon to wield. But this was not my favorite series. I enjoyed parts of it. I think some of the tie-ins were pretty interesting. And I always like getting those stories about, like, oh, what you think you know isn't real, isn't true. There's a secret happening. I like those. I think they're fun and very fascinating. So that kind of thing interests me and kind of, made it work a little bit better for me overall. But I was a little disappointed with it. I didn't think it was his best work. I like Jason Aaron's work a lot. I think he's done great stuff with Thor. You must read his Thor work. It's really, really great. He did a lot of good stuff with Wolverine. Really, really different take, kind of a very, very brutal, I think. And that's saying something for it being a Wolverine title. But I like Jason Aaron. I think he's got a lot of stuff, a lot of great stuff. This was not my favorite thing that he's done. The artist, Mike Diodato, was amazing. He's really, really great. Love the artwork in it. It's really, really gorgeous. So you should enjoy it for that. But tell me what you think. Have you read Original Sin? Did you find it fascinating and interesting and mind-blowing? Did the secrets kind of wow you, or like, oh, or like, oh my god, this is incredible? Let me know. Tell me in the comments, like, subscribe, share this with people, and I will come back to you with some more Marvel goodness. And as always, it's all geek to us. And I'll see you soon.